Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and New Year's are just around the corner, so you guys better clear up your schedule, cuz Mikage's inviting you over to the Festive family meal. This is my ally of the Black Moon, Mikage Seijuro, family feast deck profile. Out of all of the resonators and all of the rulers that exist right now, I think that Ally of the Black Moon, Eternal Vampire, Mikage Seijuro has to be my favorite, my personal favorite, if not one of the most competitive decks that exist right now. Obviously, it is the perfect counter to the Turbo Gwiver and all that other token-producing nonsense. I think there's the black-blue Valentina that's from the new one that's also producing a bunch of tokens, but this is amazing because it's got the one-drop black ping that does 100 damage to target resonator, and he collects a blood counter, which is fantastic for his flip side. He's got a 3 judgment, which in terms of judgment is actually super cheap. I mean, it's no 0 judgment like that one green-black fox guy from the new Legacy Lost set, but it's pretty good. 2 black and 1 for judgment. And of course, Energize. Fantastic, love it. Been around since Curse of the Frozen Casket from last set, and it is great. So, let's say that we put a bunch of blood counters onto Big Papa Seijuro. He's been dishing out extra large portions for everybody at the feast. And you flip him over with a bunch of blood counters for his 3 judgment to his Eternal Vampire Mikage Seijuro side. Now, look at that art, man. This guy is having a family dinner and he's still pimping enough to be having a little bit of a snack on the side there. He's got Imperishable and Flying. If this thing had Haste 2, nobody would be playing any other deck. This would be your only deck. This would be the deck. You'd be going to Worlds, you'd be going to your state, you'd be going to your province tournaments, and it would be top 8, top 15, top 30, top 60, all Mikage Seijuro. But, you know, there's ways of giving him that. I don't have it in this deck, but you can always put those pesky, and I emphasize pesky, Levitins, and I cannot wait for those bloody things to be cycled out, but they're going to be around for a while, and you can give this thing haste and then smash for a bunch. But the cool thing about this card is that it's got so much versatility. You've got those blood counters on him, and he's got like 5 additional abilities for popping those blood counters. And as far as I know, I think blood counters pop at instant speed, so you can do this at any time after you flipped them. So his ability reads as such. Remove a blood counter from this card, choose 1. Target J/Resonator gains -1/-1, which is amazing if you accumulate enough to take care of good old 0. Though, strangely enough, out of all of the tournaments and stuff like that that I've been playing at my local shop recently, nobody seems to really play 0 that much. So, anyway, for anything that's got Indestructible, essentially. Then it's got... or this card gains +200/+0. Again, if you give this guy haste, he can smash for a bunch. Then he's got, or you gain 200 life, which is great, because if you've been taking a beating and you're down to your last few health points, you can just pop a bunch of these counters, get double whatever you're paying into it, and get a bunch of life. Or put a 1/1 counter onto target Vampire Resonator that you control. Actually, no. Target Vampire Resonator. Nice. So it's not even the ones that you control. You can put them onto anything you want. Which is nice, going off of that 1-drop Vampire Resonator that comes with the Legacy Lost set, which once it hits the field, anything with a 1/1 counter, either yours or your opponent's, can be killed. So like Target Resonator. This thing is amazing. You know, you think that you're done and it'll save your life. Stone base in this deck is super simple. What's a dinner without a little bit of fire? We're running 4 of the red-black Magic Stone of Scorched Bales, and I've actually got 3 that I pulled from the draft for Curse of the Frozen Casket of the new dual stone for red-black, and then I've got 1 of the old ones from the Vingolf 2 set of that particular stone, and I actually got lucky enough to get a full art textured one from the draft, which, if you actually get to see that, it looks freaking beautiful. They did an amazing job on the texturing and the art of the new dual stones. The old dual stone from Vingolf 2 actually looks pretty cool too, but oh my goodness, the new ones look so much better. So we're running 4 stone of Scorched Bales, and then keeping it nice and easy, 6 of the basic black magic stones, and it's actually got the art from, well, it's not really new anymore, but Curse of the Frozen Casket. I like the one from the new one too, but I've never been a big fan of the whole cubism thing, so Yes, 4 and 6, that's the stones. This deck is essentially a field-destroying, field-controlling beast. With Mikage's ability on his ruler side to keep pinging things for the 1-drop black to do 100 damage to something, as long as somebody doesn't drop that super annoying Ice Shackles card, you're pretty much controlling what is on your opponent's field in terms of resonators at all times. Which brings us up to our first 1-drop card here, a 1-drop red Demon Flame. If you don't know what Demon Flame does at this point, seriously, you shouldn't be playing Force of Will. Go back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever. Actually, nothing but love, nothing but love. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! Too. So Demon Flame reads as such. Choose one. This card deals 500 damage to target resonator, which is really not what we're going to be doing, but there's a second half of the ability. Or destroy target resonator that was dealt damage this turn. So ping with Mikage on his ruler side for that one, especially on those turns that you have only an odd number of will available, and a lot of the times your most efficient decks are going to work off of the even number of will turns. But anytime you've got anything open, and the cool thing about his ability is that it can trigger during your opponent's turn, you can leave that one black magic stone open so that they think that you've got something in your hand. They'll hesitate, they won't do anything, and then near the end of their end phase, you just pop it for one more ping damage, and then you'll do the 100 damage. Or you could start the turn with doing a ping, get that one blood counter, and then hit him with a Demon Flame, and you can kill pretty much anything, which is awesome. So Mikage, great host, but unfortunately he doesn't do the cooking, because when he does, everything gets burned. Big Papa Seijuro isn't particularly good at cooking, but he isn't a dumb guy. He's actually smart enough to make sure that he hires good help to do the cooking for him. Which brings us to our first 1-drop black resonator. Servant of Mikage, having a brain fart. It is a 1-drop black resonator vampire with 3 for defense and 3 for attack, and an amazing ability. When this card enters the field, put a 1/1 counter onto target resonator. If your opponent controls a special magic stone, put 2 1/1 counters on that resonator instead. Now, the reason why this card is amazing is that if you're not going first, if you're going second, or if you're on your first turn, you're getting the energize, this card will almost always come in as either a 3/3 and then drop 2 counters onto your other creatures, which are going to just buff them like crazy. And you guys will see that later with Mikage's first daughter. Or he's going to come in as a 4/4 or a 5/5 for 1, which is great in my opinion. I run 4 of these. If you're running any Mikage deck, in my opinion, you should be running 4 of these too. With Servant of Mikage in the kitchen and Mikage himself just chilling by the fireplace waiting for the guests to arrive, we're gonna need a turkey, right? So we have this particular puppy, a 1-drop fairy resonator, 1 red flame sprite, which has the abilities flying and swiftness, which is amazing for a 1-drop, and it's a 2/3 resonator. And it's also got the secondary ability down here. If you can see, this card deals 100 damage to target resonator for each fairy you control. Now, in an ideal game, you're really not going to be seeing more than 1 or maybe 2 on the field at the same time, so you're really not going to be worrying about doing a bunch of additional damage with its tap ability. But the cool thing is that if you can get the energize and by luck get that red-black magic stone onto the field, you pair this card with the next card that I'm going to show you guys. You pop the red for this puppy, hits the field with flying and swiftness, and you have this next card. It buffs it by 800, 800. You swing into your opponent, which will very, very unlikely have a response for something that's got flying on the first turn, and you're going to hit him for 1,000. That's great. And for any other time that you don't have any available mana to ping for Mikage's blood counters there, but you still want to be able to hit something for damage, like let's say get rid of an elf token or kill one of those green cat things from Feith Singh's deck, you can tap this thing and do 200 damage to something, right? Oh no, sorry, do 100 damage to something. Or you can use this as the damage to ping off those demon flames. So we've got the servants in the kitchen, we've got the turkey in the oven, and now we're going to have to start feeding the guests. With 4 fire sprites, I'm also running 4 Blood of the Mikages. Now, every time that I have a festive meal with my family, I always tend to overeat, and it never, ever, 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 ever ends well. But in this case, being a little gluttonous is not bad. So, Blood of the Mikage is a 1-drop black chant with the following ability. Target J/Resin your control gains +800 and precision until the end of turn. At the end of turn, destroy it. This card is win. This card is freaking amazing. You pair it with that sprite, it becomes a 1000 beating stick to hit either one of your opponent's strong opening creatures, or you fly right into them for 10 damage, and you've essentially just taken out a quarter of their health. You've taken a huge lead in the game. Or if you flip over Mikage, essentially what you want to do is get a bunch of blood counters onto him, flip him over, get a bunch of benefit, either gain a bunch of life or buff him and then flying him into something or into your opponent, or passing on all of his counters onto your vampire family members at the dinner. Or what I actually like to do is on the turn that he hits, that he's got his first ability to attack after he's been judgmented, you pop one of those onto him, which essentially makes him 17/17 with flying and imperishable. You fly into something to kill one of their creatures, or you just take 17 to face to your opponent. And then, at the end of turn, you'll die and flip over. Okay? Which means that next turn, you can already start tapping him for stones, and you can pump him up, judgment if you don't tap for a stone, and then start the whole process again and keep giving those goodies out for those blood counters. So I run 4 of these. If you're running any Mikage deck, you should definitely be running 4 of these. I've seen people run less. I've seen these being used with Eternal or Monkey Stuck in Life, that one fairy tale, which is pretty good too because you get it back, but I think that this is just phenomenal in any Mikage deck. When you're as old as Mikage Seijuro is and as powerful as he is, you tend to forget a few names, even from close family members, when you invite them over for the family festive meal. So we have 4 of this particular chant, and I love it because it just screams control, and it plays into the whole gimmick in this particular deck of 1/1 counters. The Nameless Mist. It is a 1 black drop chant with the following ability. Look at your opponent's hand. Choose a non-resonator card. They discard that card. You put a 1/1 counter on a resonator you control. How awesome is that? Essentially what you're doing is you're neutering your opponent's ability to respond from hand with quick cast, with just flame burning spells, and with field wipes and all that junk. You're attacking with a strong creature, and you're afraid that your opponent has oh, well, look at, fancy that. They have a Zero's magic spell, and they want to remove your creature from the field, or they want to Flame King your field, Flame King shout your field and just get rid of everything, or they want to do one of those those new flame time bombs or whatever from the new Legacy Lost deck, or Legacy Lost set. Essentially, you've got 1 black open, you drop this guy, put a 1/1 counter on one of your creatures, and get rid of your abilities, your opponent's ability to respond to your aggression. I run 4 of these, you should too. With everything perfect and ready to go, some of our first guests start to arrive, and we have our first 2-drop black chant in the deck. I run 4 of these things, and they're probably my favorite card to come out in the new Legacy Lost set. It is a card called Fated Reunion, and actually on this card, for anybody who doesn't know the lore, we've got Gil Lapis and his father, which I'm pretty sure this is the first time he actually shows up other than in flavor text at the bottom of cards. So it has this ability. Choose 1. If you control 2 or more Darkness J/Resonators, you may choose both. And with this deck, you're going to be choosing both all the time. All the time. So search your deck for a card. Then shuffle the rest of your deck and put that card on top of it. And then you've got semicolon, or draw a card. So essentially, this is the first actual, on its own, non-J ruler tutor. It's amazing. Okay, unless you're talking about like something like Rook Egg or something like that, but that doesn't count. It's just a silly ass egg. Okay, this card lets you get anything for 2 creatures on the field, 2 black resonators on the field, and 2 mana, 1 black and 1 colorless. This is going to change the game, guys. This is going to be that thing that gets us that much closer to Magic, that gets us that much closer to like mind-boggling, crazy complications, crazy control, crazy useful. I run 4 of these because essentially it means that I've got double any card in my deck. It's so cheap, and I get to get that card. Not to mention the fact that it is the only draw engine that I've got in this deck, which is kind of sucky because Red, as far as I know, only has a couple of draw engines. You've got your Guinevere, you've got that new card with the Cthulhu cat goddess from the new Legacy Lost set, and Black pretty much doesn't have any. This is the first draw/tutor engine for Black. If you're running Black, put in at least 3 of these. In this deck, they are phenomenal. They are so versatile. They're so useful and dependable. You're going to be seeing these all the time. So honestly, if I start a game with this deck, I always try to mulligan for at least one of these in my hand, so that I know for a fact that I'll get some of my lower count cards in my deck, because I don't run 4 of absolutely everything in this deck. So I run 4, you should too. Honestly, just, if you can run it in any Black deck, do it. Always the ever-faithful middle child, the first of our guests to actually show up at our festive family feast for the Seijuros is, what is her name? Rinka, second daughter of the Mikage. Now, you guys might notice something interesting about this card in comparison to this particular card. Huh? Have you guys picked it out yet? Have you? Have you? Well, this is the textured full art from the Case of the Frozen Casket, which is where this card originally came out in. Now, what I heard from my play group was that apparently a lot of people were complaining that there was no true full art coming from that particular set, so they re-released all of the full arts, all of the super rares from that particular set, as actual full arts. This is freaking beautiful. You have your text box being completely whited out with just the text on top. You can see the full art in comparison to this one. It's also textured and it's fully holographic. This is by far my waifu in this game. She is my favorite character. She looks so freaking cool. And she is, in my opinion, the most useful of the 3 daughters from the Seijuro family. Now, I run 4 of these bad boys, or these bad girls, I should say. It is a 2-drop, 6/6 resonator, 2 black drop. It is a vampire, which is amazing because that's pretty much what we're running in this deck, and it works really well. And it's got the following abilities. You've got, whenever this card deals damage, put a 1/1 counter onto it, which is great because you're going to be doing damage all the freaking time. This card gains precision as long as it has a 1/1 counter onto it, and as you've seen from previous cards, we have so many different ways of getting 1/1 counters onto things, it's not even funny. And then finally, remove a 1/1 counter from this, 1/1 counter from this card, and it gains flying until the end of turn. It would have been way cooler if she just had flying, just as a base ability, but I guess that would make her a little bit too OP. So sacrificing your 1/1 counter to fly over your opponents to hit them isn't too bad, because just by doing damage, you're going to be getting that 1/1 counter back anyway. So, the first of the daughters to show up, the ever-faithful middle child, and by far my favorite of the Mikage daughters. You can imagine Daddy Seijuro's big, crazy surprise when his second daughter Rinka brings home a new boyfriend by the name of Urashima Taro. Now, this card, I've seen it in so many Black decks. It's probably one of my favorite fairy tales. I mean, I don't play fairy tales too often, so that's really not saying too much, but I love how well he works in synergy with Mikage's ruler side. So, you guys remember the blood counters? Have I mentioned the blood counters? Have you seen this? Have you heard of this? Have I mentioned it enough times now? This is what you're playing off of, folks. These are what you want. When you can do the 1 black, ping for 100 damage, and you've got nothing else in your way, you've just done 100 damage to something, you don't have that demon flame, all you've got is an open black, or a couple of open black, you drop this bad boy. He is a 5/7, 2 black drop resonator, fairy tale, so he's not vampires, but that's okay, because, Rinka loves him and he's a nice guy. With the following abilities. When this card enters your field, destroy target damaged resonator. Boom! Firepower. What am I talking about? I don't know. I'm just saying random nonsense. But this guy is no joke. No nonsense here. You ping for 1, drop this for 2. You got a blood counter, you've got a 5/7 body in the way, and you just killed one of their resonators. That's money. That's versatility. That's usefulness right there. His second abilities aren't really all that useful because I don't run the black treasure box, but for anybody who would want to get even more control, even more field kill, put in maybe a couple, put in maybe 3, maybe even 4 if you're really crazy about them of the black treasure boxes, because when this card is put in the graveyard from the field, you can search your deck, so it's a search card essentially for that particular card. You reveal it and put it into your hand and then shuffle your deck. So it's a good way to sift through. I run 4 of these. Honestly, you could probably do with 3 if you want to pop in another card, but with the balancing of this deck, 4 is just right. You add on to your big stack of field control-y, creature destroy-y cards. So that's Urashima Taro, 4 of them, money. With most of the guests here, people are getting antsy to start eating, and they can't wait for any more time to pass before the other of Mikage's daughters decide to show up. So Big Papa Mikage says, let the feast begin. And now we have our 2 black drop power absorption chant. Right off the money, right off the bat, right off my head. You see that this card is a quick cast. Quick cast is amazing in this game. If you can quick cast things from your hand, you're going to be controlling things for days. And that's what this deck is about. This deck is about 1/1 counters, aggression, control, win. So its ability reads as such. This card deals 600 damage to target J/Resonator, and emphasis on J/Resonator, because a lot of cards don't do both. This one does both. Plus an additional 100 damage for each vampire resonator you control. Put a 1/1 counter on each vampire you control. What? What? That's freaking amazing! Oh my god, it's a 2-drop that's always going to do 600. 2-drop for 600. It doesn't sound groundbreaking, but with the way that this deck plays, you're going to be having at least 3 or 4 vampire resonators on the field at one time. If you're dropping those Servants of Mikage, you're dropping the second daughter, even the third daughter. Spoiler, by the way, she's in this deck. I know, she's pretty crazy. So you're going to be doing at least 600. Most of the time, you're going to be doing 900 or upwards of 10, 11, 1200. I don't know. I've never done 1200, but you can, hypothetically, with this deck. And you put a 1/1 counter onto all of your resonators. You kill something, and you get a bunch of buffs. I don't know. I run 4. I've seen people run less. I've seen people not even run this card at all. And I don't know why, because it's a cheap drop. It's got quick cast, so you can do it during your opponent's turn. Kill that big baddie that's about to take out one of your second daughters, third daughters, whatever you're running, one of your resonators, or it's about to hit you for a bunch. You kill it, buff everything else, and then block all of his other shitty resonators. So I run 4. You should too. Hey guys, did I mention that I'm running red in this deck? Yeah, I kind of forgot for a little bit too. I don't know. I think the red is mostly for those flame sprites and for the demon flames. But, oh, hey, look, it's another red. I guess this is an addition, not a chant. It's another red edition. It is the Fairy Tale Library Alexandria. It is a 1-drop red and 1 colorless edition that has the following ability. When this card enters the field, choose a race. Vampires, duh. Resonators you control of the chosen race gain swiftness. If you can use that Fateful Reunion, or whatever the hell it was called, Fateful Reunion. Oh, nice. Good job, Masterfeja. You remembered something. Woo! Alzheimer's, take that. 1 for Eddie, 99 billion for Alzheimer's. But seriously though, Alzheimer's isn't a joke. It sucks. Right? It sucks. Okay. Okay, my aside. So, Fairy Tale Library Alexandria. If you can use Fated Reunion off of your second or third turn, you drop this thing out. Essentially, you've got a win more card. All of your vampires are going to hit the field. They're going to get all those 1/1 counters. You're going to flip Mikage over, give them even more buffs, and then they're just going to swing first turn that they're out there. It's amazing. I only run 1 of these because with the Fateful Reunion, you're essentially running 5 of these things in your deck if you think about it, because you can search for them. There's been times where I just get it first turn and then essentially I don't have to worry about finding it anymore. From the guys that I play with, there isn't too much addition / regalia hate, so you don't have to worry about this thing just disappearing for the most part. But if you want to run more than one, go ahead. I only run the one. So, yeah, look, another red card. Yay, Alzheimer's is bad. Woo! Everybody's been fed, and now they're starting to wander around Mikage's house, and they're leafing through his books, getting gravy and cranberry sauce on everything. And then who decides to show up through the front door? Boom! The black sheep of the family, the first daughter of Mikage. Her name is Yasushima, first daughter of the Mikage. She is a 3-drop, 2 black, and 1 colorless vampire resonator who is a 7/8 with the following groundbreaking abilities and the #1 buff, rough, and tough resonator in this deck. When this card enters the field, move all 1/1 counters. That's all 1/1 counters. All of them. Not 1, not 3, all. All 1/1 counters from other J/resonators. Not just your own, not just your opponent's, everybody's goes onto this chick. She demands all of your attention. She is late, she's a little boozy, but she is ready to party. She also has the ability, pay 1 black, remove a 1/1 counter from this card, put 2 1/1 counters on another target vampire you control. She comes in, she's late, she's a little boozy, she's pissing everybody off, she's demanding attention, but golden at heart, daddy's favorite little girl, she comes with gifts for everybody. When this card hits the field, and I'm only running 2 because, again, remember, Faded Reunion, we've got tutors now for black, this game's completely different, black's gonna own this game forever now. You get her out onto the field, you collect a bunch of 1/1 counters from all of those things that you've been dropping this entire game, hits her, you've got a couple of open black mana, you can pop this off as many times as you want because she doesn't tap for it, it's just an activated ability, and essentially you're doubling what you've invested. Let's say that there was 3 1/1 counters on the field, you tap 3, play her, all 3 go into her, then you've got 3 additional, or even just 2 additional black open, you tap the 2, you move 2 off of her, put it onto something, and essentially you've turned those 3 counters into 5. You've got 1 on her, and then 2 of your other resonators are going to have 2 1/1 counters each, or whatever combination you want. I run 2, I've tried running 3, it kind of throws the balance of the deck off a little bit. I would never run 4 just because she is a 3-drop, and in this game, when you're not running green, 3 is still a pretty high amount in my books. So, daddy's first girl, you should play her. She's amazing. And also, if you didn't get a chance to look at this, the art on this card is amazing. If I could get my hands on a full art, I would lose my mind. This is beautiful. What a beautiful family feast. Everybody's been together, they've exchanged stories and anecdotes, and they've had delicious food and warm feelings for one another. But Big Papa Mikage Seijuro over here is getting a little pissed. He's had his liquor cabinet raided, his book's been filtered through, and he's getting a little antsy and a little pissed off. So I think, you know what, between you and me, I think that this festive dinner is gonzo. It is over. Which brings us to the only 5-drop card in this entire deck, the Eternal Recurrence. And actually, the cool thing is, if you look at this card, you can even see Mikage in the background going like, "Okay, guys, see you next year. Now get the fuck out of my house." Oh man, and I actually, here, I'll take it out of the sleeve so you guys can see. I got a full art of this bad boy. It's, oh my god, the texturing on it looks so cool. So, it is a 5-drop chant, 2 black and 3 colorless, that has, wait, what? What does it say? Destroy all resonators? Does that seriously say destroy all resonators? Dude, they finally made a black hole for this game! Ah! Okay, all fake, and, well, actually, no, yeah, it's a little fake, it's a little real. All reactions aside, why is this card not being played more? I have not seen this card being played once since the Curse of the Frozen Casket draft. Why isn't it being played? Okay, sure, it takes out your stuff too, but it is the only actual, like, entirely true to its name, field wipe card in Force of Will right now. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you guys can like tell me in the comments if like it's just not good enough. I don't know. I run one of these. I've got the faded reunions. Essentially, I'm running 5 of these bad boys. They're they're great. You're running into a pickle. You've got 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever mana lying around. You wipe the field, and then next turn you flip this guy and you start beating him down because you've essentially just killed like 2/3 of their available resonators because they got a little too antsy and they load up the field too much, and now you win. Now you win. That was my Mikage Seijuro Family Festive Feast deck. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I'm going to actually post the side deck profile, my 15 card side deck for this particular deck profile in the descriptions, just because this video is already getting a little bit long. Whatever it is that you guys are going to be doing, make sure that you spend some time with your family and friends, your loved ones, your pets, your coworkers, whoever, and just remind them that no matter how stressful 2016 or whatever year it is currently into the future, that you care for them and that you love them, and that the time that you spend together is the most important thing of what the family and the festive seasons is about. So don't forget that that's what this is all about. And for anybody who's like, but wait, where's the third daughter? Well, guess what? She's crap, so, you know, she's not in this deck. Okay, guys, happy holidays, and I'll see you guys for Masterfeja's, I hate talking in third person, for my next deck profile the next time that I've got a couple of free seconds from a hectic life, so, okay, happy holidays, guys. I'll see you next time.